Hi, today I'm so delighted to one of our famous judge and world champions choreographers to joining our show. And Eddie Simon actually is one of the choreographer for You Think You Can Dance and some of the Broadway show like Esther. So he also a founding member of the DT and of course as a very famous judges as well. So today, this topic we're going to share is Ask the Judge. So we want to get to the mind and brain of the judges. So thank you so much, Eddie, for joining us today.
No problem. My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, the first question I always ask for judges is that what is the most important things do you judge when you look at dancers in the dance floor?
That is a great question. The most important thing is surprisingly a combination of things. I once read a book called Blink, and in that book, he talks about how experts make decisions. And he said it was surprising because what they do is they look at something and within a millisecond, all of their years of experience, they see so many things in their brain that they don't even really analyze, and they come up with their solution. They said what was even more interesting is when you ask that judge why they saw what they saw, they become confused. And they did an example of an art gallery experts, and they looked at art and they said, oh, that one's real, that one's fake, that's real, that's fake. They just knew. And they said, why? And the more they talked about it, they said, well, it could be, well, and they actually didn't do as well once, but they were right in the first place.
Yeah, because the instantly already built in, that's what you mean, right?
That's exactly right. And so that's what it's like when you judge, is that your years of experience, you look and you see body line, top line, footwork, body action, even the way the emotion is portrayed, just silhouette, so many things at once you just see, and it comes to you really pretty fast. That's why if you notice, sometimes we just look a couple seconds, boom, 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 it just comes to you really fast. But that's also a problem for competitors, because very often a competitor will go to a judge and say, why did you mark me what you did? And the judge will try to be honest and think about but it's like those art gallery, they start to say things that may not be really what they saw. So that's why the difference between judging and coaching, when you're a coach, you have time to look and analyze and really get in a different circumstance. So you usually come up with a much better plan of what that person needs. Not that the judge isn't sincere, but it's not usually what happens at that second. Now, sometimes you have a long time to see just one, there's only two couples on the floor, and you have a long time to kind of watch. Then you start to see like your coach's side of your brain. But usually it's just so fast, there's so many things. Of course, one of the things about alignment and posture is something that's so easy to see way across the room. So if you have bad alignment in your body and bad posture, that's going to be hard for your image to be good even at a second. But then all of the things, of course, how you deliver the music and the musicality and the body action, that'd be Latin rhythm, or the body movement and the standard and smooth and the swing action and the footwork, all of those things come into play. And this is why I tell couples that you have to be well balanced, because some couples are very good at some things and not good at others. And then you're going to get your marks, and you'll know when you're that person, because your marks will look like this: 6, 1, 3, 2, 6, 3, 5, 7. They'll just be all over the place. That means you have some good things, some bad things, and that means depending on when they looked at you and maybe what their priority is at that point. So let's say I look at someone, they both look about the same. And then I notice, oh, that one's footwork is really bad. That one's top line is bad, but which one do I want is more important to me at this moment? You know, is that top line that much worse than that one's footwork? You know, but usually you don't have that much time to think of all of that, but that's why consistency is key.
So this is the most important, consistent. That's what my coach told me about that. So make sure when you're 2 minutes, every single time, you'll be consistent. Second question that some of the competitor will ask, has a kind of feeling as say, hey, the judges are very political because it's a kind of, like what you said, the different rating. And some people feel that, they might be judging me because I didn't do a lot of coaching. They just her better because she has a lot more coaching and spend more time, spend more money, and those kind of things. So how do you address that?
I love to talk about this subject, actually. So my question, the first question when people ask that is, have you ever feel that you ever won because it was political? And usually the answer is no, I've only lost when it was political. When I won, it was right.
Good one. Good one.
So most of the time it's hogwash. I'll tell you that right now. And unfortunately, I'm a little disappointed in some teachers. I've even some teachers tell their students, oh, it was political. You didn't, I understand the teachers are trying to make the student feel better, but it's actually very not good for the student, the teacher, or the industry. So the politics, I like to say that if it exists maybe in the 1, 2, and 3 of the top world-class professionals. After that, it's really not. It's people, in their mind making things up. And on the rare time that it might be right, I always tell my people I train, on the rare time it could be true, you can't do anything about it. So why are you concentrating on that? Concentrating on what really matters, your dancing. How can I get so good that even if someone has that feeling, they can't make that choice? That is a true way to really win and be better. In ProAm, I believe that the judging is even more fair than the professionals. And sometimes people are surprised for me to say that, but it's because the judge probably doesn't remember what that ProAm used to get. Oh, but if you mark the national professional champion who was US champion several times, you mark them even second, you know what you're doing. And you have a good reason for doing it, right? But if it was Pro-Am, they probably don't remember they were Pro-Am champions. So they're just marking what they see truly in the moment. So in a way, I believe it's even more honest, the Pro-Am coaching, than the professional coaching.
Good. I really want to get that at rest because I hear a lot of that. So I'm so grateful that you share how you feel and what's your point in that.
And anytime someone says that, they're welcome to talk to me about it, because I think I'd like to change their mind. And it's so harmful. Once that goes into your mind, like I said, on the rare time it's true, even it hurts your dancing. You have just made an excuse why you can't do better. And I include you teachers out there that are listening to this. Teachers, if you tell your student that you are hurting yourself and your teacher, you're saying that no matter what you teach, no matter how good you teach, that student can't do it because of other reasons. That's copying it out. You're making an excuse. Be a better teacher. Teach your students so well that there's no choice to be rather than to win. And you know what? Even when you're the absolute best, like I said, it's almost more honest in the program. You're not going to win every time. What you want to do as a student, in my opinion, is see what range you are. And let's say you're fourth, fifth and sixth usually, and you're always fourth, fifth, and sixth. That's your range. You try to move that range up. If you're first, second, and third, and this is very important, who else was there? Is it a big comp where all the top competitors in the nation were there? Or are you first and there was no one there that was really a high-level dancer, and then you're seventh the next comp? Well, seventh was better than first because of who your competitors were. So it's very important to look at that. And like I said, don't be freaked out. I was third last time and now I'm fourth. Okay, if you're in the range, you're doing well. Now, if you were always second for 3 years and all of a sudden you're not making the final ever, not once, because everyone has it happen at least a couple of times, then you're like, oh, okay, every time. So now I need to address something. But every single person, pro, amateur, pro-am, who has been a champion has had exhilarating wins and devastating losses. So sometimes when you have a really bizarre, you're supposed to win and you don't make the final, just say, oh, that means I'm going to be champion, because every champion has had that happen.
Thank you so much. That is such a good perspective, a great attitude. So I have one last questions, and I think it's very important to me as Pro-Am dancers. What will be your one piece of advice for us as a competitor dancers? What would you say to us, the most important thing?
I would say it's to learn the process and trust the process. And what that means is learn how to develop. There's no short answer. And I think, a lot of times I'll tell pro-ams that are very serious, I said, well, do you want to learn like a professional? And they're like, yeah. I said, okay.
Yeah.
I want you to watch what the world champions usually do. If you've watched world champions practice, you will be surprised that most of their rehearsal time is by themselves. Now, I know it's not a fun thing to say, but if you want the real answer, the world champions, I've seen it in every category. Even after I retired, I'm watching the other world champions. It's always the same. They're in the room, they practice together to get ready to practice, but then they go to their self and they work on themselves. And at the end of the rehearsal, they come together and put it together. Now, as a pro-am, I don't expect the entire lesson to be by yourself, but I do expect you to ask your coach to look at you by yourself. I think you should do some practicing by yourself, because the more you can do by yourself, that's going to make you a better dancer. And that's why Zoom was actually good for many dancers, because they had to do it by themselves and they realized what they didn't know.
Yes.
Now, what's wonderful about Pro-Am is you get a feeling of something that's usually a higher level than you are. And that's a beautiful thing, and that is good. But still, to take more responsibility for your own dancing and really tell your coaches and teachers, yes, give me some drills to start the lesson first. So then we can work on the drills and then apply it to basic actions, and then use that same understanding to apply to your more advanced choreography. Every session should be like that. If you just start dancing through stuff, it's crazy. It doesn't make sense. But I believe that students need to ask their teachers to teach them that way, because the teachers are afraid if they teach that way, almost all of them know to do that. But if they do that, all of them might lose the student, and they don't want to lose a student because they like to work with the student. But if they teach them like that, the student will be like, oh, I don't want to do this. So the student has to, when they're ready, I understand every student may not be ready, but when you're ready, you say, all right, just start by doing a couple of drills every lesson in the beginning, and then work up into some basics and then your choreography. That's my suggestion.
This is such amazing suggestions. So I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for your advice. And I'm already getting a lot of value out of that. Really appreciate that. Thank you.
My pleasure.
I hope you find this video useful, and please give me a thumbs up and click the subscribe button to subscribe to my channel, and click the little bell button as well, so when I have a new video comes out, you will be notified.